I'm doing the sharing stuff. I'm doing the sharing stuff. Okay, let's just get ready to turn all this off because you know what happens on this thing. Right.
Make sure my stuff's
Talk amongst yourself. Talk about the weather. Talking of the weather, it's blooming raining like you wouldn't believe. Hold on.
Yes, it's awful.
Beautiful.
Is it? Oh, it's awful here.
Oh, is it nice over there, you see?
Yeah, 20 degrees today, I think.
Oh, what?
Oh, we should have got out earlier, Danielle.
Oh,
we can't go now. We should have got out earlier.
Well, we can. We will. We will.
We will.
We shall. Hold on, share. Let me just share this. Copy link. Keep talking. Talk about the weather. Talk about how lovely it is over in France.
Yeah,
lovely sun shining. It's not the bluest of skies. There's a bit of overcast cloud. But yeah, it's lovely outside. Beautiful day. Birds are singing. Heard the cuckoo for the first time this morning.
Oh.
So
nice. Are you in a remote place or?
Yeah, very. It's like, I think the population density where I live is equivalent to the Highlands of Scotland.
Wow.
So, but then Toulouse is just up the road, like an hour away, isn't it?
Yeah, that's not too.
Yeah.
Nearly there.
Oh yeah, we live in the middle of nowhere.
So how close are you to Toulouse?
It's about an hour drive.
Yeah. Nice. France is
like 2 hours, 20 minutes to the Mediterranean.
Yeah. So you can go there for the day.
I go there for the day. It's my birthday treat, go to the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
As you do. As you do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's lovely down there. A bit too far from the sea for me, really. I'd much rather be a bit closer. Grew up by the sea and I miss it. Apart from that,
did you?
We do have a lovely swimming lake here where we live. So it's just a couple of kilometres away. There's a swimming lake with slides going into the lake and beach and everything. So it's almost the same as the sea.
Amazing.
Where did you grow up, Kate?
In Somerset.
All right.
Yeah.
So where was your nearest beach? Was it
Burnham? I grew up on the seafront of Burnham on Sea.
Yeah.
How lovely.
Yeah.
I love the sea. I miss the sea. Do you know what? I actually really miss the sea. I miss being able to just go down to like Southend or just to like Walton. My mum and dad have got like the chalet thing that they've got over there, and it's right by the sea. And there's nothing like it, is there? Just being by the sea and the sound.
Very calming.
Oh, and it's just you're in a place which is bigger than you. Like, and you can be very aware right there, can't you, when you're by the sea?
I think it kind of, for me, it's like it takes all my feelings and emotions and it just dissolves them away. It's so big, it just takes it all, and it's like a big vessel that takes it all, and that just calms me completely. Yeah.
And there's something about looking at the sea, looking at water.
Yeah.
Whatever kind it is, whether it is a waterfall or a lake or the sea.
Yeah, that's right.
There's something about it that calms the mind, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely.
Like for me as well, greenery does it, and I really miss it here. Looking out here, the only thing there is that's green is our lawn, our bits of lawn, and somebody's got one of those spiky mother-in-law's tongue plants in their garden, but that's it. Because none of there's a couple of trees, one in our garden, one opposite, but they've not got leaves on yet.
Okay, yeah.
So they're not green, and I miss that. I was surrounded by greenery in my
rainforests. Rainforests are just beautiful, aren't they? Rainforests are just surrounded by that smell as well, isn't it?
The smell,
Oh, it's all. Anyway, right. I'm live on. Hello, everybody. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, LinkedIn. Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you today. So today we are doing our therapy talks, and we are going to be discussing, if my brain can function today, because I'll go into that, we're going to be discussing addiction. So the reason why I came up with addiction is because I have Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune condition. And I also have GERD, acid reflux, and a hiatus hernia. There's my medical history right there. Sharing is caring, you know. But I have all of these things. And recently, well, I reckon the last 6 months, I reckon, I have had a burning all the way in my chest that just will not go away, and it's so painful. And I've been, you know, Gaviscon Advance, I've been popping about 30 of those tablets every day to try and just get some respite, just try and like calm everything down. It's just so intolerable. But I got to the point the other day where I was just like, I've really had enough. I've had absolutely enough of this. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I've stopped it. And I did this with gluten about 10 years ago because I was getting some serious brain fog and aches and pains. And oh gosh, there's this thing called gluten ataxia that I got. Do you know gluten ataxia? Have you heard of it?
No.
And it's almost like having a stroke. You literally, you can't speak, you can't function. It's an attack that your body does on you. And I was researching, and it was to do with gluten. And I was like, at that point, I was like, no more gluten. And I never touched it since. And I felt a million times better. But this burning, I started to research it. And a lot of people with Hashimoto's get problems with acid. And a lot of people were saying, give up milk, give up the dairy. And I ate a lot of dairy. I was eating a lot of cheese and chocolate. Oh my God, chocolate, cheese, chocolate, tea, coffee. I mean, I was having about 8 or 9 tea or coffees a day. Like that was a regular thing. So everything I was drinking was, you know, milk or that. So I just thought, that's enough, I'm stopping. So I just stopped it. But alongside that came giving up tea and coffee, because I couldn't have it with milk. Yeah, I can have the green tea, which I am having. I'm having ginger tea, and I'm having Ribena and stuff like that now. But I gave up the tea and coffee because I couldn't have the milk. And I loved it. I loved it with so much, but I just thought no more. So I gave that up. And for 3 days, I am not lying, my head felt, okay, it felt like I had a rock literally on my shoulders. It wouldn't budge. I was taking paracetamol, ibuprofen, which you're not really meant to take as well with all those kind of things going on, but I was taking it and nothing was shifting it. And it was all along here and in the back of my neck it was. Oh, the pain. And I didn't know what it was at first. I didn't have a clue. I was just thinking, and I was having aches all down my body. I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? What's wrong with me? I thought, giving up milk, it can't be doing that. And then I started researching, what's going on? Am I dying here or what? And I researched and I found it was caffeine, because I'd stopped tea and coffee. I'd quit the caffeine. And the caffeine withdrawal was so intense. And this is day 5 now. And still today, I'm getting the aches on the lower half of my body, but mostly everything else is better. My headache went yesterday. So it was 3 days of severe headache. And then the 4th day, it was the aches and pains. And today I'm a lot better, but I'm still not 100% there, but I'm getting there. But I found out that it was withdrawal. And I thought to myself, oh my God, this is things that we do in everyday life. It's normal, having a cup of tea, having a cup of coffee, you know, going down to other things like chocolate, which is sugar. We can be addicted to food or sugar addictions. All of these things, what effect are they having on us on a daily basis? And what would happen if you gave it up? What happens? Because I gave it up because I had to give it up, because I wasn't prepared to live how I've been living anymore. And I think in life in general, everyone gets to the point where you just think that's enough and you change something. You have to make a big change to feel that difference. And my acid has stopped. I've got no more burning in my chest, and it's like a gift, honestly, and nothing in the world will make me want to go back to what I had. So yes, it's a massive change in my diet, massive, but oh gosh, it's like being free. It's like being free of a fire. It was like my body just telling me, stop, stop, and I hadn't stopped it, you know, and I was ignoring it. And the more I was ignoring it and trying to cover it up with these Gaviscon and plasters, and I'm on this omeprazole because of my hernia. So like, I've got all of these things going on, and I'm like, the more I was trying to stop it, the more it was giving me more and telling me stop. So I made that decision and I've stopped it. So
well done.
Oh, blooming! Oh, it was tough, and but it wasn't as tough as feeling that pain. It wasn't as tough as that. So I can deal with that. But my God, so that's the reason I'm going all around the houses to get to the front gate. I wanted to talk about addiction, because that's what are we addicted to in daily life, and how do we get through? How do we find out what we're addicted to, and how do we change these things, and when do we change these things? Because it's down to things like social media as well. Are we addicted to that? There's a million things: shopping, gambling, alcohol, food, smoking. Like, how many things we believe that it'll give us this feeling, but really, is it giving us this feeling? And what happens when we stop? So I'm going to throw it out. Let's go. Who wants to go first?
Before we start, I was just going to say that I'm getting like a beeping sound, like it's like a
are you?
Mobile phone or something's interfering. I don't know.
Oh, well done. Let me move my phone in case it might be that.
I'm getting a lot of beeping coming up.
I'm glad you said that. Me bambling on. Hold on. Is that better? Is that better?
I don't know yet. It keeps coming in and out as if there's a message coming through and it's just beeping.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Yeah, because it might have been just the signal pickup.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, good. Yeah, Kate, go on. Tell me about addiction. We've all got stories we're going to share, haven't we? Mine was a little bit.
I mean, I can relate to the caffeine one, because I did that probably a couple of decades ago now. I decided to. I think it was I spoke to somebody who'd. I seem to remember going up on the train to London and talking to this guy, and he was saying he'd just come off caffeine and how amazing he felt, how much energy he had in the morning. And that was always my biggest problem, these early starts, especially when I had to go up to London for business quite a lot, get the sort of 6:30 train. I mean, it killed me. And so for me, it was like, wow, if this works, I'm going to give it a go. So I decided, right, that's it, cold turkey. I'm just not going to have any more caffeine to see what it does. And I went through that same thing. It took me 2 weeks, and it was pretty hellish. I felt like I had the flu. I was going hot and cold, sweats. I had terrible lower back pain, really bad backache, which is what I tend to get when I get a fever. So I had this back pain and headache, like you say, headaches. I thought, God, is this ever going to go? But 2 weeks it took me of these sort of hot sweats and everything else. And then I remember just waking up and thinking, wow, like how much energy I've got. Because I mean, I was like, before then, if my husband would get up before I did, and so he would get up, he would, put the kettle on. So that when I got down, it was ready, and my cup of tea was there in the pot ready. Because for me, it was tea. I never really liked coffee that much. Yeah. So it was always tea. And so I would, if I got downstairs, and maybe say he'd fed the cat instead of putting the kettle on, I used to get like a bear with a sore head. I was like really angry. It's like my sister was smoking, you don't talk to her in the morning until she's had her first cigarette. It's like I was that bear with a sore head until I've got my hit of caffeine first thing in the morning. And that's how I was. And then, because it was the only thing that kind of woke me up. And so then I was awake anyway. And it was just brilliant. I didn't need it at all.
Do you know?
And I for a long time, I didn't even touch green tea, because I know green tea has caffeine too. So, I mean, I didn't even want to touch that, because I'm scared of going back to this terrible sort of sluggish me in the mornings. So I can absolutely relate to that. And it is hard. And you can do it in stepwise ways, can't you? Or you can just go cold turkey like I did. I'm a bit like that. I tend to just say, I'm going to do it. I'll go all out and just do it. And force my body through all the pain and hardship instead of doing it slowly over more time. Yeah. But I would say the only addiction I can kind of talk about at the moment, because I've been through the whole dairy thing. I have, like you say, I have the same autoimmune thyroid thing. So for me, no gluten, no dairy. I didn't get any withdrawal from that. I wanted it, but I didn't crave it. I mean, my body wasn't screaming for it. So actually, my body actually really loves the food I eat now. So I really didn't have that issue with it. For me, it was more, right now, my biggest addiction probably is stress.
Right.
For me, I love stress. And we were talking about this the other day, weren't we, Linda, about this?
Yes, we did.
For me, it is, I don't like the feeling of being comfortable. Comfort for me, this comfortable, safe feeling that most people want and crave. I don't want that. To me, it's boring. I need excitement. I need stress. I need something. That's what makes me alive. Yeah. And so I tend to crave that, and that can be very harmful for me, obviously. when really my body just wants to relax and just do nothing. But for me, everything has to have a purpose. Everything has to be, I have to be driving towards something. I have to be achieving something, because it's this whole, almost like the perfecter in me that needs achievement and do better, be better, and all this. And so I still love that feeling of that aliveness that I get with stress, and I have to kind of curb that and force myself, like you do, not to have that cheese or whatever. For me, it's like not to actually just sit and do nothing and have no purpose at all, and just watch something mindless on the TV, because I find that hard. Even with something on the telly, I think, oh, I could just check my emails while I'm, it's like, no, just stop, just shut off for a moment.
Just stop.
So that's probably my biggest challenge right now, I would say, if we're talking about addictions and things.
I love that. It's funny. Hold on, I'm going to come to you 2 seconds, Linda. But I was just funny what you were saying about the irritability, because I actually feel totally different internally, not only from the burning, but from giving up that tin coffee. I was living with, something just that winds you up. You feel it. Like I was feeling it all the time, like say Ethan, I have to ask Ethan 15 times to do something, like it's almost like there's been a calmness just press upon me. And I didn't realize it was the tea and the coffee that was doing that. The caffeine was doing that to me, the irritability. It's really weird. Linda, my darling, please talk.
Yeah. I was just going to say, Kate, if you want to work on that, when you've got time, we can work on that.
Thank you, darling.
Help you with it. So so now let's continue with my story about Kate's course.
Yes,
which is amazing. Selfish Freedom. When she relaunches it, you must all look out for it and sign up right away, because it's been amazing. And I haven't even done all of it yet, and it is amazing. So the amazing thing on Sunday, when we were doing a Zoom call, the amazing thing then is we were working on, we were talking about the aspect of you that is a driving force and is there ostensibly to protect you, but actually doesn't protect you. So for me, we were talking about the warrior aspect of me. And I did it. I did everything. And I'm so glad I did. I was compliant with everything she asked us to do, but I didn't want to get rid of, I like my warrior. I really like my warrior. And we came to a point where I said, Kate was saying, you see, if you battle everything, it's taking all that energy from you. And I said, no, it's not. No, it energizes me. And she said, it does not. It does not energize you. Remember what we were saying earlier before we started recording, Danielle?
Yes.
There are things that you think are giving you energy, and it's not energy that they're giving you. She said, you are getting all those stress hormones that are bad for you, even though it doesn't seem to drain your energy. And what is making up for the energy drain is addiction. It's because it's an addiction, and it's going to be dope. I mean, we didn't talk about this, Kate, did we? But it's going to be dopamine, isn't it? It's going to give me a dopamine hit to get into a battle with somebody, usually on Facebook, not usually face to face. Though I will battle face to face as well. And as soon as she said that, I knew she was right, because I could feel that same satisfaction that you get if you're addicted to the Facebook scroll, and you go, oh, there's my phone, I best check it. And I'm going to have to take that in hand as well, because I'm doing it all day long. So I'm going to have to take that in hand as well. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is an addiction I didn't realize I had. And as soon as you know, and you would know, if this applies to any of you watching, you will know that deep sense of satisfaction when you kind of dash your hands up and you go, there, that's told them.
Yes.
And you feel really good about what you've said.
Yes.
And I'm careful not to be offensive, but that's not enough. I am still challenging, and there's not really any need for it, because it's not the way to change anybody's mind anyway. It's a waste of time, because nobody, if you're bolshy about it,
no,
nobody's going to change their mind, are they? You have to go about that a very different way, and I know how to go about that a different way.
Absolutely.
And I've wondered why. This is the other way I know it's an addiction, is I'm usually in my profile, of course on my business page, but also in my profile, because some of my followers are Facebook friends as well. I put my best self across, and I'm very careful how I write. And then sometimes I'm in a private group where none of my followers will see it. Now, I'm being honest here now. I mean, my followers watch this, and none of you will see my bad behavior. And I think, right, I'm just going to sort him out. And that is just addiction, isn't it? I can see that now.
It's like externalizing. You have to get it out. Just like, you need to know what I'm feeling. But I mean, like with like what you were saying before, like commonality, when you find that mutual commonality, is that a word?
I think it is. Yeah, I think so.
Like a mutual commonality, so that you know that you're on the same level in so many things, and then you can introduce your thoughts and feelings, so that it's not on an aggressive level, rather than it's
and nobody, it troubles me a great deal when people I'm in a few activist groups, and when people in there are talking about sheep and sheeple, and I think nobody is persuaded to take on new information if you insult them.
No,
and it doesn't matter that you don't say to them you're a sheep. That doesn't matter. If you've got that idea in your head, it's coming over in your energy, isn't it?
That's right. We're all equal, and we all have the same positive outcome intent, and that's the point.
Yes.
And
yes, we do.
And we have to respect the fact that other people's views are other people's views, and we may not be able to change them, but if they're open-minded enough to listen, then they can then form their own decisions based on other interpretations, so and going back to addiction, it's hard to find. I'm getting my words back to front. It's hard to find a replacement, because when you stop something, you need to replace it. So like when I stopped smoking, now I stopped smoking a year ago, completely stopped smoking, because I had COVID in March, and I physically couldn't smoke anymore because it hurt. And I decided, what am I doing? So I just stopped. But I needed to find a replacement, and I had to look into what it was. What was I doing when I was doing that? What was the feeling I was getting? What do I need to replace? Was it for escapism? Was it for comfort? Was it relaxing me? What were the things that it was giving me that I could replace? And so for me, it was my break. It was my break. I gave it was like a reward. It was a reward. And every time I did something good, I was like, oh, that's great. Now I can have a cigarette. I can relax now. Bang, bang. But really, I wasn't doing that. But that's in my brain. That's how I was figuring it. So how I replaced it, with, Nicotinell, the spray. So I was still getting it, and I got an added benefit with that, because with my dairy problem, I was getting a lot of problems in my throat and all down here. But my Nicotinell spray, which I have my trusty sidekick, which I'm addicted to, I have to say. But with that, it was clearing my throat and my airways. It was the weirdest thing. So not only was I getting my nicotine here, I was getting this most amazing freeing of all my airways. And like everything that was anything there was just freeing up for me. So for me, I replaced the smoking with something that I felt was helping me even more. So yes, I've got the nicotine part of it. Now I tried using mouth sprays, just normal mouth sprays, to get through it, to get off the nicotine. But I find that with the nicotine, I get that added thing. So yes, I'm addicted to nicotine still, but I don't smoke anymore. But that was my replacement.
So it's part way. You're part way,
yeah,
to where you ultimately want to be, aren't you?
Yeah.
And
Well,
you've taken a step.
Yeah,
You've been able to take that step.
The thing is, I didn't want to give up smoking. That was the point. I really didn't want to do it. And I think with any addiction, you have to really get to that point where you want to give it up, because otherwise you're just fighting yourself. You know, once you decide, it's not difficult, because yes, it's a physical, you do get physical withdrawal effects. Yes, you do. My God, I'm just experiencing them. But it's not a decision, because how your reward at the end of it is so much greater than the addiction itself. So it's replacing one reward with a different reward. That's your goal. That's your visualization. That's what you can see. That's what you want more of. So that's where you're heading to, rather than being stuck in something you don't want to do anymore. But with the smoking, it was hard for me because I didn't want to give it up.
Yeah.
I just had to give it up.
What's his name? What is his name? The big guy, that Tony Robbins.
Yes.
Tony Robbins says, doesn't he? And I can see this, I accept this. Tony Robbins says, once you have decided, it's done. But it's deciding that is crucial. Once you've decided. So that, I guess that's what I was talking about before we started today, about if I decide, I can flick a switch and that's it. It is done. I've had to, I was saying, in my family, I'm known as the reluctant vegan, because I had no plans to become vegan. I didn't see any reason to become vegan, except that I was in pain walking and suffering, having to walk with a stick and suffering from pain even with the stick. And so, and people were saying, I've become pain-free from going vegan. So, well, then I'm going to do that, because that's what I want. It's exactly as you're saying. I understand what you're saying there. I wanted to become pain-free no matter what. And so then for me, it feels like flicking a switch and that's it. All of that stuff I was not eating, I was eating. I won't eat. I'm not tempted, not even tempted with any of it, even the stuff I loved. I'm not tempted because the decision is made. I do have, for you as well, Danielle, whenever you want to give up nicotine, I have a quit smoking program that will take away all your reasons for needing smoking or nicotine.
Yeah, because that's the thing with NLP, we are very lucky to have the tools that we can do.
So blessed.
Like to dislike, so you can change that beautiful chocolate treat into a nice smelly poo. You can do all of that. Because what we see, we can believe that. And also, so you've got the like to dislike
and find the root cause.
What
we need to do is find the root cause, take that out, and you're done.
That's right. We're very lucky that we can do that. And knowing anyone out there that does have an addiction, there is help and there is a way to do it. Because hypnosis, you can calm the mind and you can suggest just to your unconscious mind that there are other things that you'd rather choose instead of the addictive things. So your subconscious mind just wants to be guided, really, and just to know that it's okay to go that way. Kate, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, it's like we all do this work with people and help them with their addictions and stuff. And I think the number one thing when I will start with somebody is like you were saying, finding their why. You know, why do you want to give up?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because it's too expensive. That won't do it. It's not enough of a reason. You know, what would you spend your money on otherwise? Then, you know, it's finding that why. It's not just cost. Often, like as you were saying, Linda, pain. You know, that's a big one. If someone gets a sudden health concern, as you've been doing for you, Danielle, for giving up the dairy, is like, it's my health. I'm fed up with the pain. I don't want it anymore, and I'll do anything. You know, and I'll always ask, you know, out of 10, give it. You know, how much out of 10 do you really want to give up now? And if I don't get a 9 or 10, ideally a 10, then there's no point even starting to get to that place, because you will give up too easily because you don't want it enough yet. How much pain and suffering you're going through, you got to really want that, and you've got to find that why. You know, is it because maybe you've got a health concern, you want to get up smoking because you want to see your grandkids grow up? You know, it might be something like that, and that could be a big thing for you. Or it might just be something just for yourself. You know, I want to be able to do this, and I want to live long enough to do it, or, you know, whatever it might be. Or I want to stop this and get this instead. But it's not like what I want to stop, it's what do I really want, what I want, and what do I see myself. And you look forward into the future and see that future you having done it, and feeling what they feel, seeing what they see, hearing what they hear, doing all of that kind of work you can do, and really feel what it's like to be there and think, yeah, that's what I want. I don't want this anymore, I want that. And as soon as they get the gap and they see that gap, then you just help them bridge that gap.
Then you can make that happen for them.
Like you say, it's that decision. It's that making that decision.
You've got to have decided. Yes. And if you've not decided, and it's so annoying, I understand this for everybody watching, it is so annoying if you just haven't got there, because I don't know. I don't have the answers. Well, I do actually. Yes, I do. I do have some techniques that can get you to that decision. I was forgetting about EFT. EFT will work on even on your resistance. It will steamroller over any resistance. So I could help with that. But in my family, my daughter has been struggling with very, very difficult circumstances. She had a baby, trying 4.5 years, miscarriage the year before, and then the baby's born, and then she's got a heart defect. And all of Lizzie's hopes and dreams and investment was all shattered, absolutely shattered. It was not all at all as she wanted it to be. And she has done so well through this. We've had some sessions, but only recently. She's mostly eventually fought her way through and had her own insights and her own transformations then. But there were times when the reason we didn't have sessions before is because she wasn't there. She was still defending the reason for doing it the way she was, or for thinking the way she was. And the whole family know about this when you're there, when you've decided. And we're all just saying in our family group, no, you're not decided yet. And it is so annoying because, well, how do I decide then?
That's the thing. I think it's almost subconscious, because when you do decide, there isn't another choice.
Yes. Like, I saw a lovely, sorry, I'm butting in, but can I say this? I saw a lovely meme on Facebook the other day. You remember it? And it said, all strong people have a story that gave them no choice.
Nice.
Isn't that so true?
That's amazing. All strong people have a story that gave them no choice.
No choice.
Yeah, you're right. It's a choice, isn't it?
It's a choice to have no choice. Yeah, like it is. It's
you feel you have no choice, and that's what a decision is. It's like, I have no choice now. This is it. But you are still choosing for yourself, and you're kind of putting yourself first, and you're kind of saying, this is it. I'm not going to do this like this anymore.
It's weird because,
like, to be for you, doesn't it? Not for someone else. It has to be for you.
Yeah, it's learned behaviour. So much of what we are addicted to is learned, maybe from your parents growing up. You've seen them do it, so you know you're doing it, or you know it's a learned behavior. So if it's learned one way, you can unlearn that.
You can unlearn it, or it's just a generational pattern. It can come down generations, can't it? Just patterns that pass on through your energy. Lizzie said to me yesterday, I didn't have any facts about this or any I didn't have this information, but I know there's a connection between mother and child. In my work, in my parent and child work, I can work on a parent to change the child. If it's a child with additional needs or just extreme anxiety or too young to work with me, to want to work with me, to be willing to work with me, then I can work on the mother, because I know that any mother that comes to me for help is strongly connected with her child and her child's outcomes. And so that's how we can do it. But Lizzie said she read somewhere that you and your child share the same energy that you've shared all through the pregnancy. Share that energy up to the age of 5. Now, I would say it can go further, but she'd seen something that had proof that certainly up to the age of 5, you share energy. So what Lizzie's seeing now is it's her job to keep herself clear, which is what my work is at the moment. I'm looking for people who are able to say, that's it, I'm taking a stand, this goes no further.
Yeah, it's interesting because like during lockdown, obviously this last year it's changed so many of our daily routines and lives, and so many addictions have been created or been introduced into people's lives, and it's
because have we thought, is it because we've thought, well, I've got to have something?
Yes, I think
that's what we've done.
Kind of replacing all this beautiful social existence that we had. You know, what do you replace that with? Oh, I'm more chocolate or crisps or pizza or what's it going to be? You know, I've got to treat myself with something to make up for this lack of kind of love and social, physical presence, because your body is calling out for it. You know, like us talking online is great, but you're not getting anyone into that place of energy, which is like that sort of energetic field we have around us. We need people to be inside of that. You know, we need a proper hug, now and again. So it's like, how do you replace that? And so we're giving ourselves these food hugs, and
that's right.
Food hugs,
which is kind of like, it's nice for like a second on your tongue, and then you sort of feel it in your body. Your body says, what the hell are you doing now? And then beat yourself up for being so weak for doing it, and it just goes around and you get this sort of spiral downwards, don't you? So
and more you do something, the less effect it has on you as well. So the more you're doing the smoking, the initial time you smoke or the initial time you have that drink, you're going to get the effect fully. But as soon as you do it regularly, that effect just wears off. And so you're getting the initial hit, so your brain's recognizing that hit, but after that it's not doing what it used to do. It's just
you build up tolerance, don't you? Your body builds up tolerance, because all these things you say, oh, my body needs a cigarette, my body needs sugar. Actually, your body's saying, what are you doing? Stop. I'm having to tolerate more and more of this crap, so can you just stop it? It has to build up these walls and tolerance, and protect itself. And then we start getting ill and sick, because then the body's having to change itself to try and cope and fight this stuff you're putting inside it. So it's like, for example, with cigarettes, it's your body, when you take in nicotine, whatever form, whether it's smoking or whatever, but the nicotine actually stresses your body. It creates adrenaline in your body and everything else. And when you're obviously taking in nicotine, especially like in a smoking form, your body wants to be sick or cough it out, it wants to get rid of it, and so it holds back these beautiful feel-good hormones we get called endorphins. It holds on to them because it makes endorphins, So our body gets those, and like if you do exercise or something, you get that feel good afterwards. That's those endorphins coming out, these beautiful feel good hormones. But what the body does when you smoke is it holds on to those. So I'm going to need these for next time they smoke, because I've got to try and stop myself from being sick and fight this thing. So I'm going to hold back the feel good hormones until that person smokes. So you only get your endorphins when you smoke or when you take nicotine. But the thing is, so adrenaline, the nicotine gives you the hit of endorphins, which non-smokers have all the time. We've got those available all the time. Yours just get stored up for when you smoke. So when you're buying a cigarette, you're just buying the endorphins that you have naturally anyway if you stop smoking. So it's like this whole vicious circle again. And then the nicotine causes adrenaline, which gives you this boost. You think, I'm getting all this energy, but all it's doing again is just giving you the energy everyone else has anyway. And it's the same with caffeine. Caffeine is like this adrenaline sort of feeling that we get with it. You know, if you drink too much caffeine, you get really jittery, really hyper. So you're getting this lift. But what you're actually getting with caffeine is just getting up to the level with which people that don't have any caffeine have all the time. So you're just getting that, you're getting up to the energy they always have. And normally you're down lower than. So all it does is boost you up to where you're at. But if you can get to a stage where you do caffeine maybe once every 1 or 2 days, you know, not at least give yourself a day break in between it, then you get an actual lift above normal. Then you get the spike. So if you want a lift in energy, then drink your caffeine. But if you're doing it daily, and then you're not going to get that boost. All you're doing is getting yourself up to the level that people that don't have caffeine are at all the time. And that's the lie of all these things. You think you're getting this great boost, you're feeling alive. Like I feel alive with stress. Well, that's rubbish, isn't it? Really? Stressing out. That's what it's doing. I need to learn. So it's like this whole anxious energy that we're trying to get, whereas it is just anxiety is what we're giving ourselves. And the more we can slowly release all these things and get to this stable, lovely place of energy and aliveness and feeling healthy and well-being and sleeping well, because we know caffeine and alcohol, all these things screw up our sleep as well. So you're feeling like crap when you wake up in the morning anyway. And it's just this whole thing that slowly releasing these things, and then we're in this great place.
And that's another question. How much do you love yourself to decide that's enough? How much do you love yourself? And if you don't love yourself, why don't you love yourself? What is it that you don't love about yourself? And when did that start? Because that's the place that you need to go to and relook at that again, because everybody, the most important person in everyone's lives are themselves, because it all starts from you, and you can't give, you know, it's like you're just draining your energy, draining, giving. But when does it come back? When does it come back? And you're the person, you need to take responsibility and be kind to yourself and recognize how flipping amazing that you are and resilient that you are, and that you can do it. And nothing's a problem. Nothing's too big. Nothing's too big that you can't get through it. Nothing. You know, it is a decision.
I think you're also a lot stronger than you think.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I've been working with a few have gravitated towards me, a few women who have been in manipulative relationships, and they see themselves as, after they've been battered by this for several years, they see themselves as quite weak, and they've left or they've been chucked out or whatever, but they want to go back, because that's another addiction, isn't it? Relationship addiction. And I've seen it in all of them. It's not just something I say. I have seen their strength. And I tell all of my ladies, you are strong. You are just aiming it at the wrong thing, but you are strong. If you have tolerated that relationship all these years, you are strong. Absolutely.
Oh God, yeah. It's going back to what they know. It's what you think you know, and what you're feeling comfortable in, because you're comfortable with the uncomfortable feeling, you know. And it's recognizing that there is an out. There is a way to change things. And yes, it's not always an easy thing. In fact, big change
is not easy.
No, it's really not, but it's just knowing that there is the unknown and the field of possibilities. That we live in the field of possibilities as soon as we open our eyes and just allow it, you know. And it was funny what you were saying, Kate, as well before, because you were saying about the exercise, and that's another thing that people have become addicted to during lockdown. You know, I haven't got that problem, unfortunately. I wish I did. But you know, people are, it's a focus. They're focused, they're going for it, you know. That's what they can do, you know, and that's a great thing, because it's mentally, physically alive, you know, you're becoming alive. But when does it become a problem? When does that physicality become a problem and an addiction? And what can you replace it with? Because your body would take a toll, you know. And so it's again being
saying, like, when does it become a problem? I think the acid test is, can you stop it and not sort of obsess about it? Can you just stop it or not? If you can't, no matter what it is, you're addicted to it, and that is it. But that's just a word, isn't it? Addicted. It just means that you kind of feel you need it in your life, whereas actually you can replace that with other things, far more healthy things. And whatever that addiction might be, there's always a way. And there are so many people out there with so many different techniques and things. There's always going to be somebody that will work for you, that can help you through it. Always.
And anyone that's watching that is struggling with any addictions at all in any way, whether some people struggle with pain, they're addicted to the pain. It's like what you were saying, Linda, isn't it? You know, with their old relationships and stuff, that's a form of pain. You know, cutting themselves, that's an addiction. They're feeling the pain, they're feeling something, you know. All different kinds of pain, tattoos, piercings, whatever it may be, you know, like it may be fashion, it may be for the pain. Like there's so many different things. So if anyone is struggling with any addictions, please do feel free to reach out to any of us, and we can help you just get through it, because
and we haven't talked about, but we can include, we haven't talked about the big addictions, have we? We haven't really talked about alcohol, and we haven't talked about drugs.
Please do.
But there is support possible.
Absolutely, and there is
as well.
And a lot of the support, the best support, looks at the underlying causes. You know, where are the roots of it? Because this is just a way of coping with some feelings that you kind of like are so uncomfortable you don't want to feel them, and they may be so subconscious you don't even know they're there. But you know, somehow you're getting some sort of relief from taking this drug or cutting yourself or whatever it is you're doing. And so the best therapies will work with that, because that's the cause. It's not just helping you stop drinking. It's like, why do you drink in the first place? And that's what you solve, because you can, you know, I've followed various people, and some of them, you know, they work with people and they can get the most hardened alcoholics just to a place where they can just drink normally. They don't have to stop drinking.
Wow.
You know, once you work with and get to the root cause, why is it you're drinking, then you can just drink socially and that's possible.
That's amazing, isn't it?
And so, but it does mean there's a lot of work involved. You've got to be ready and willing to face that whatever's down there in that dark place, you know, it maybe you've been avoiding all your life, you know. So it does take a lot of work, and you do need skilled help to do that work with people.
A lot of that.
I wouldn't face it on your own, because you.
No, that's right. It's a lot of it's numbing the pain, isn't it? It's numbing the pain.
Yeah, or you're either numbing something, or you're trying to feel more alive.
Yeah.
You want to feel, you're already numb and you want to feel something. Sometimes, you know, hurting yourself or hurting others that then hurts you back. You know, that can be just a way of just feeling something. So it can be many ways, and that there is no one way. And that's what I think my message is. There are so many different ways to get to one place.
Yeah.
And And there's always
Yes.
hope, I would say that, always.
Yes.
Even if you've tried something, it didn't work, doesn't mean to say there's something wrong with you. It's just what you tried, there was something wrong with that,
Yeah.
try something else.
And it's never too late. It's never too late to change. You can literally turn your life around when you decide, and it doesn't matter what people think about you, what people's perceptions of you are, what you believe their perceptions of you are. It's not important. What's important is the fact, your perception of you, and being able to start again and just stop what you don't want to do anymore. Just focus on self-care, self-love. It's so important, because you can't control anything externally. You won't be able to control what people are saying about you, because that's like fish and chip paper. You're going to fold that up and throw it in the bin, and it's not important. You're the gossip of the town, maybe, but for 1 day or 2 days, and then it's going to go in the bin. It'll be forgotten. But for you, it's a lifetime, you know. So focus on that. Don't focus on the noise. Focus on the focus. Yeah. So important.
Also, I would say the other thing is, like, for people that are with people who have addictions as well, that's very hard.
Yes, that's very
true. Yeah.
And caring for yourself then too. If you're like the person that has to sort of pick up the pieces from someone who's going through something like this, and that's a really hard place to be too. So you also need to look after yourself and get help to keep yourself. How do you suggest someone that's going through like that scenario? So someone that they live with, that they care about, is addicted to maybe alcohol or drugs or something like that. How would you suggest? Because you can't, as I say, we can't change them. They have to decide that. But how do we cope? How do we get through that? Well, I think there's the whole part of protecting yourself and being safe yourself. And that has to be, you know, if you're going to have that person with you in your life, then how do you protect yourself? And then value yourself enough to do that in the first place. And then you've got to be looking into building your own life and having your own life that's apart from that sort of being a full-time carer. Almost is a very hard life to do. So and I can't say there's no one way. Obviously it's just working that with that one person and saying with them, get the support, get a support group, get support around you, get the person help or support in for you kept doing the caring, you know. And if they don't want to help themselves, then you can't much, and you've got to decide if you're strong enough to do that, you know, and whether you're willing to give up your life for this other person, because that's what you're doing, really. So it's a very hard place to be, even harder probably almost than the one that's within the addiction, because they're like they go inwards, they're in themselves, they just care about themselves, they're not thinking about you and what's happening with you.
So it's just about, isn't it, it's about one of the ladies I worked with who'd been in a manipulative relationship did not want to leave the relationship, and it's not my job to work on her so she can leave it. So we worked quite happily. My job was to clear her of whatever prevented her from being confident and calm and her best self. And so we can do that for people who are with somebody with a serious addiction, can't we? We can help them become their best self, because from that place, they will make the right decisions. And they won't be held back. They won't be triggered. They won't be making poor choices because of being needy in themselves. If they are in a position to be their best selves, they will make clear choices that are good for both of you then.
Exactly. Because it's not about choice, isn't it? It's building choice. That's what we're talking about.
It's always building choice, isn't it? Always building choice. And then when you are able, to allow your that other person to make clear choices. Because if we're trying, the mistake we can easily make is to keep them from the consequences of their poor choices. And you do not allow them then to reach their turning point. We've got to allow them to reach their rock bottom, because it's only from their rock bottom that they can say, oh, I'm not having this. This has now gone too far. And if we keep them from that too far point, they will always just manage with it. And they will never make that change. It can be very tough. I mean, it's known, isn't it, as tough love. It can be very tough. And some will not make it. Some their rock bottom may end their life. But it is their choice. I also feel it is their choice. If they cannot make that decision to change and their life is unbearable, it is not a kindness to just keep them alive.
No,
I know that is hard to hear.
It is hard to hear, but it's the truth. It is that rock bottom. That rock bottom is a personal experience, and
it's not our rock bottom. My rock bottom would be way higher in drinking, for example.
Our rock bottom, dealing with someone with an addiction, will be very different to their rock bottom.
Yes.
That's the thing. Our choices that we make when we get to the rock bottom dealing with that will be very different to the choices that they will make. So most people, when they hit rock bottom, will make the changes that they need to do, and nothing will stop them. It is literally, there's no choice. That is it. They're going to do this.
I'm done with it.
There's nothing that you can do about that, because that's an external thing, and nothing. And all we can do is just to be there for people and to show we care as well. Show we care and give them options and choices. But it's up to them to take.
Like you say, it's like even just raising a child. It's like you give them, these are your options, these are the consequences, and then you give them the choice. And so I think this whole thing of responsibility, I'd like to talk about that with people, especially people that are pleasers, that want to just save everybody and feel responsible for everyone, but they're taking away the ability to respond. If you're taking responsibility for someone else's life or for their addiction or anything else, you're taking away their ability to respond. You're taking away their ability to learn and to make choices for themselves. And a lot of us want to go into this sort of caring mode, and I want to protect you and I'll look after you, and this whole almost codependency thing starts going where we kind of need them to be in addiction so that we get to care for them and feel good about that. And so we keep them there. And you can't go out, don't go out, it's too scary to go out, if somebody's like maybe agoraphobic or something, stay in, I'll look after you, instead of sort of saying, get out the door, let's try it. Let's do it together. I'm going to help you, but I'm here, but this is your journey, not mine. And so there's this whole thing of taking responsibility for people versus just being responsible for yourself. And that's it. And there's a big difference there. That as mothers, obviously, a lot of women keep that role and keep doing it, with their children or with they adopt other children, instead, well, you could be my new child now. I'm going to look after you.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. Do you think that's why we miss our children so much? The empty nest syndrome, because we've got nobody left to protect.
If that's our role, if we've identified ourselves with that role, I'm this protector, mother, carer, then when the baby leaves the nest, what do I do now?
Whoa, what am I going to do now? There was in my family, my girls have been, I think all of them are practicing respectful parenting, which gives you give your child resources, you make sure they've got the resources, and then you leave them to make their choices with certain boundaries, of course, and according to age. But some choices can be left to them no matter what age they are. And I learned last night that, yesterday morning, my 15-year-old grandson rang up from Forest School, where he normally enjoys it and loves it. And he rang up to say, "You're not anywhere near, are you? I want to come home." And it was only lunchtime. So we talked about this a bit, and I said, "No, I'm not." And I talked with him about getting into a different mindset of making the most of it and so on. So I helped him as best I could. Well, I learned last night that the reason he was needing to ring up and ask to be brought home is because the evening before he'd been drinking tea with caffeine.
Oh,
and
let's talk about caffeine again.
Yeah, and and his mum allows him to I said, "Well, why would she allow him to do that?" And Lucinda said, "Because respectful parenting, mother. Don't keep him from the consequences. Wow. It's up to him, because otherwise you've got a battle all the time. I mean, no, Connor, you're not. No, look, it's 6 o'clock. No, don't be having anything now." Yeah. And he's 15. He needs to be learning how to take care of himself and make his own proper choices, doesn't he? Yeah. So that was why. So he couldn't sleep, and then he was tired out at Forest School, and then nobody could bring him home anyway.
Makes sense. Well, do you know what? I mean, that was brilliant to end on. We've been talking an hour again. Like, I could just talk for hours with you anyway. Thank you both so much for joining me. And everyone watching, I'm just going to say a big big hug out to the whole world, because we all need a hug. Flipping, do we? Hug to you two. I flipping love you both. And yeah, I love you. And just know that you're stronger than you believe you are. You are so much stronger, as Kate said.
And there's always an answer.
There's always an answer. So on that note, contact us. I'll put everything in the description. Share it to anyone that you feel may get some value from it. And I'm going to say au revoir.